Is that it? We live? Hey Ethan. Hey Ethan. God damn it, dude. Hey guys, Ethan from Trackstar. Today we have another episode of Tuned, and we have something that is going to be close to any Honda fanboy's heart, a Civic Type-R clone. This has a lot of authentic parts, the CTR wheels, the Reparos, a lot of little touches inside. Has a K20R motor and a skunk ultra manifold. So I've already done some street driving, gonna get this on the dyno shortly and see what it does.
Yeah, it's a K20A out of a DC5 ITR, 6-speed. It's got, it's got 2 intake. I don't remember what injectors are in it now, because you put new injectors in it.
Yeah, they're just RDX injectors, the 410.
But it's full bolt on everything. Still got heat AC. Well, we're actually fixing the AC right now. It's got power steering. Everything you would want in a CTR conversion type car to daily, this is it.
I like it. I think it looks great. I was thirsty and there was only one left.
Oh yeah.
Pepper.
Okay.
There's no way that I would ever take that.
Oh, how sweet of you.
I'm too good of a friend.
All right. So I just connected up to this one. It's got some kind of tune on it, but it looks pretty ugly. Here's the 0 degrees cam angle table, and then as I click through, watch 0 degrees, there's 10 degrees, there's 20 degrees, see all this crisscross. 30 degrees is really bad, and that's a map that you spend a lot of time in right there, is that 30 degree area. But you can see, the shape of this is just fundamentally wrong. You can see when you look at the colors here, there's big drop-offs, 27 down to 22 degrees. Like, why would you have that kind of drop? So click in through a few more. There's 40, there's 50. Each progressing table should be kind of similar to the previous one, but like some kind of shift built into it. But that's not what's going on here. You can see they're just all really, really different. So that's commanding a lot of different timing angles as the car moves through all the VTCs. And that is not going to feel smooth. And then I see furthermore, in the high cam, so in VTEC, then you click through all the tables and they're all the same. Sometimes there's a reason to have some unified, unified tables between multiple degree of VTC, but it's very odd to have them be variable on out of VTEC and then have them not be variable in VTEC. Yo. So looking at the fueling.
And just to reiterate, this is the tune that was on the car previously.
Yeah.
Ethan just plugged into it.
Yeah, so I'm looking at to see if it's even worth starting from this. It was tuned. Well, I'm like, if every once in a while something will come up that the tune is close enough that it's worth like working with what's already on the car. But in general, I start over completely.
Yeah.
So then, now here's the fuel maps, and okay, it looks like the whole fuel map is unified. As I click through all the cam angles, it's the same fuel map. It's not a super pretty one, but at least nothing is crisscrossing. No crazy stuff going on, but it's not very smooth at all. You can see how jagged that is. Let's see then, in VTEC, really jagged. And it is all unified in VTEC. Once again, okay, at least nothing's crisscrossing, but there's almost never any reason in any table for any tune to do this up, down, up, down, up, down. That's almost never appropriate. So I don't know how well it was really driving before, but it can't have been very good. We'll get this thing dialed in, and then hopefully we'll get some good numbers out of it. It is a K20R motor, so with the Skunk 2 Ultra manifold and a few other parts, so should be able to make some pretty good power. So I showed a minute ago what the map looked like as it came in, and how the VTC angle maps varied, but they didn't vary, consistently with each other. So here is more. Here's an image of what it's really supposed to look like as you move through the VTC tables. So here we are this is the low cam fuel map. Here we are at 0 degrees. There's 10 degrees, 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 40 degrees, 50 degrees. And you see how each map was similar, but it had a hump that moved back. So as you advance the timing, it's gonna want, as you advance the cam timing, it's gonna want more ignition timing as well. So that increased ignition timing follows the advance back. So that was a much better image. None of the lines are crisscrossing each other. You know, no up, down, back and forth. So that's a much better, much closer to what it's gonna want in the end. Car feels pretty solid, as expected. I wouldn't say usually, but a lot of times if somebody puts in the work to make a car look this nice, then it's usually pretty solid. Revs very freely. See, it's going lean right now as I get higher in the RPMs on the low cam. But I dip in, there's VTEC. It's largely appropriate once we're in VTEC, so have some fuel to add in the low cam. Idling is pretty good. It's just once you get about 3,000 RPMs or so, it goes up to 16.5, 17. So I need to look in the shape of the fuel curve there, and I bet you it's got a little bit of a dip down there that's no longer necessary because of the Skunk 2 intake manifold and the throttle body that's on here providing some more air. So we need to provide the extra fuel to match to get the horsepower out of it. Got a real bad brake or clutch smell, but I sure didn't get on either of those items hard right now. I don't know, maybe that's from some other vehicle. It's usually from whatever I'm in though when there's weird smells. Usually from whatever I'm in. This is a car that I would kind of like myself. Civic Type-R. I'd take that. I would take an Integra Type-R, Civic Type-R. These cars still have like a little bit of I still feel like a little, I don't know what the right word is. Some kind of passion for them. Feel some kind of way. They make me feel some kind of way. I think that would be the appropriate terminology.
Yeah.
Very few cars make me feel some kind of way. Yeah, it'll be a very good daily car. A very good daily car, aside from the fact that everybody and their brother wants to steal it. So there's that. I already had my one Honda stolen. I don't know if I could go through that again.
Yeah.
It's a bad time.
Potholes everywhere.
Yeah. Every bump in the road, I'm like,
Potholes everywhere. Oh my lord.
I'm like, hang on, laptop.
Everywhere.
Hang on, laptop.
Oh my god.
I think we're good to get on the dyno though.
We're gonna put this thing on the dyno.
Going in the wrong gear right now, so number output's not going to be accurate. Just trying to get a pass. So there's like, see this dip right here, and this curve is based on the factory fuel curve. But now this dip in fueling, it doesn't need to dip there. Now because of the Skunk 2 intake manifold, throttle body, now I need to add fuel into that area so that it can make horsepower. Apparently something with the stock intake manifold and maybe like resonance frequencies required that there, the fuel not have as much demand. But now, like I said, now there's more fuel demand, which is a pretty clear indicator that we're gonna make more power than factory. ready to get into the correct gear now.
Let's make some more power.
Something interesting for you guys right now, and problematic. So this is the log of the most recent pull. You see it's got 30 degrees of ignition timing, and then just in a moment it drops down big time. Sometimes you'll see a drop like that right when you enter VTEC if you have your timing tables like not matched up, but VTEC happened way back here. So I have the table up right now too, so you can see what happened and what I was asking for. So we are at 30 degrees, and you see those 4 highlighted cells, 29, 2 29s and 2 31s. Average is 30, so it's executing 30 degrees of timing. As we move through the pull, then we hit this big drop, pow, down to 22 degrees. Something very odd happening here because the timing in the table is 32 and 31, so it should be 31.5 degrees, but it's at 20, it's like 10 degrees south of where it should be. That is definitely something odd. I need to figure out why that would possibly be doing that. Got that huge timing drop. That's where all the power is going. Okay, well, we're getting somewhere now. I got the big ignition drop mostly resolved. If you can see here, the red line is our ignition timing. So I was having this huge drop right here, like 8 degrees. I've got it down to a 2 degree drop. What that seemed to end up being was in gear compensation, there's this tip-in retard gear multiplier. I had to zero that out. That was falsely coming active. So now it seems pretty close. I have some smoothing out to do down here. You can see how the red line, the ignition timing goes down, up, down, up. That's before we even hit VTEC. Then the purple line here is the crossover into VTEC. And then it's relatively flat, little adjustment to do there. Flat is a good start. I'd like it to be flat and then peeling up just a little bit at the end, you know, sliding some timing in once we're past that peak torque to make some more power. But after I got the timing drop fixed, we went straight from 216 to 235. So doing a lot better now. I want to show how nice and smooth my progression through the VTC angles looks. So there we are at 0 now. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. That's how it's supposed to look. All right, so we did another pass, ended up with the same power number basically, but my log looks a lot better. If you can see that same red line I was highlighting before, you can see how I've got a little step down here and a little step up there. So I need to add some timing into that little section. Then I need to add some timing to the entire low cam. This purple line is our VTEC crossover. So I want this red line, the ignition timing should dip down and then up. It should stay flat, flat, flat. And then right here at the end, we should get that little curl up. So I have a little bit of refinement to do there and a little bit more out there. Our fuel injection looks a lot better. Still kind of steppy. I wonder if I can smooth out some spots there and there, but it's not looking bad. We're getting close to a done deal here. So to find where my little dip is, I'll highlight my graph here, and then you can see where we're moving through right here in relation to where we're moving through in the data log there. So once we get here, my timing is good. But this area in here needs more. So it looks like in these top 3 loads. I need to increase this timing as it lays back here and these numbers get very small. $240, $159. Well, we ended up $240 there. I've got this almost perfect. You can see the timing goes low right before VTEC and then goes a little high right as VTEC hits. I just want this to all be smooth. And you can actually see this dip down and this dip up in the dyno right there. See the dip right in the middle near VTEC crossover? Yeah. We are getting really close now. Power still didn't change. Curve looks better. VTEC crossover was actually too low. I just moved that up. Still got a little bit of a dip, so I moved it up a little bit more. Here's what the data log looked like. See ignition timing getting much smoother. Just this tiny window right here, and I just made changes for that. So hopefully this should look really good on this pull. Alright guys, well we are done with the CTR clone, and man, it's been a hot one, but we were rewarded for the long hours. Ended up at 240 wheel horsepower, 158 foot-pounds of torque. Got a nice flat dyno plot. Torque is holding way out, pretty high RPM, so this is a good recipe here for you know, for a pretty competitive and fun car. You take a Type-R motor, a few well-chosen bolt-on parts, and then a good tune on top of that, and time to have some fun. That does it for today. Please check us out next week for another episode of Tuned, and y'all guys stay cool.